Michele Tafoya, I believe, worked her 300th game on an NFL sideline this past November, and she'll have that opportunity to be there in Buffalo with the Ravens and the Bills coming up this Saturday night. Also, second episode of Season 2 of NBC Sports Uncovered, the podcast series hosted by Michele, debuts today featuring Gail Sierens, who in December of 1987 became the first woman to call an NFL game, handling play-by-play duties. That was the Seahawks and Chiefs. That NBC podcast episode's available for download. We bring in Michele Tafoya. Give me a weather update, weather forecast here, Michele.
It is definitely soup weather, so minestrone or minestrone. How do you decide if you're going to go minestrone or minestrone? I thought it was minestrone. Am I just stupid? Don't answer, obviously.
Well, no, you went to Berkeley, didn't you? You went to Cal. So I went to Dayton. So I go minestrone. But I don't know. Minestrone sounds like what I would say growing up in the Midwest, where minestrone sounds like maybe somebody who is a little bit more educated palate.
Well, you know what? Let's find out. Let's let somebody be an expert on this and tell us, because I've always heard minestrone. But, what do I know? I know that the sky right now in Buffalo outside my hotel room looks a little soupy. It's going to be cold, and it's going to be windy. The snow might not start until the second half. That's what it's showing right now. But either way, that could make this really interesting.
What's it like, though, when it does snow? You're covering the game, and normally you'd be on the sidelines. But what is that like when those conditions present themselves?
It's just cold and stupid, and you're just going, what, it's worse. Rain is worse because you have to juggle an umbrella in your hand, your notepad, your microphone. You feel like you can't hold on to anything tightly, and you're just fumbling those items the whole entire game. So snow is a little easier. The wind is not fun. But, yeah, we're in that moat, they call it, that first row of the stands, and you just deal with it. Lots of warmers.
Worst weather you ever were reporting in?
Oh, my gosh. I mean, I would say no matter what, it was rain. I did a game at, I want to say it was Mississippi State or Ole Miss, and I'm sorry that I'm confusing the two. This was so long ago. I know I was in Mississippi, and we had like 7 overtime or something because of the rain. So, it just no one could win the game. That was a bad one. But, it is what it is.
Do you have a signature play that you remember that you covered a game and that you'll be able to tell your kids that you were there seeing that firsthand?
There are quite a few, but the one that jumps to mind is the Malcolm Butler interception in the Super Bowl against Seattle. And I would happen to be standing behind Bill Belichick when it happened. And I'll just never forget the shock of it, the shock that they threw the ball, the shock that he picked it. At the time, no one knew who Malcolm Butler was. And then seeing, because I was, my vision included Belichick and his arms go way up in the air in this like victory sign. It was, that visual for me will never leave me.
I was right by the goalpost. And
Were
so,
you?
Yeah, because I was presenting the trophy, and I'm thinking Seattle's going to win the Super Bowl. Marshawn Lynch is going to run right in front of me. And as Russ went back to pass, I went, oh, no. And I'm standing next to Ron Vaccaro, who is, great producer on Football Night in America. I go, oh, no. And then he threw the ball, and I go, oh, my God. Okay, at least they knocked it down. And then Malcolm Butler pops up, and I go, so I have to start taking inventory of who I'm going to interview on the podium.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, is Paul Allen going to be down here? I got Pete Carroll, who's the MVP. Next thing I know is Malcolm Butler just made the greatest play in Super Bowl history.
Yeah.
Is he going to be the MVP? And then... it was one of those weird moments there. And then the other one was Roethlisberger when he threw the touchdown pass to win the Super Bowl to beat Arizona. I'm right there in the corner because I have to go out on the podium again. I think Arizona is going to win it. Is Mr. Bidwell going to be on the podium? Who's the MVP? It's kind of crazy in those moments. Then you have to still do your job.
Yeah, well, that's the funny part is, you're prepping for a post-game interview, or in your case, the trophy presentation, and suddenly your whole mind has to shift. And I went through the same thing. My job after Malcolm Butler made that interception was to not lose sight of the kid. So I'm like literally stalking the sideline. Every move he made, I made, behind the bench. And then, of course, when I finally grab him right after the game, and they're taking their time getting it down to me, and finally when Al throws to me, he's, now let's go to Michele. In that instant, Malcolm Butler decides, I've waited long enough, I'm taking off. He takes off. I have to chase him down, and I've never looked back at it. I'm told it's kind of humorous, but we did. I chased him down. I got him on camera. But yeah, that was kind of remarkable.
But you've chased people down. You don't know you're on camera. Like, we can sometimes see the wide shot of the field when the game is over. And then all of a sudden we can see you. Like, it probably gets physical where you got to box out people, don't you?
Oh, there's no question. This job is way more physical. Not so much this year because we don't have that space to cover, but it's way more physical than people realize. The running around that you do, halftime chasing coaches, the whole bit.
I also marvel, though, when you have to talk to a coach who's lost, and it's a big game, and trying to find just the sensitivity level. It's a completely different tone.
Totally.
Like, how do you almost have to gear up for it because you almost have to feel their pain, put yourself in there. And I don't know. What is your process there?
You're spot on. You're spot on with that. Good for you, Dan. You want to come up to Buffalo and work this game? Because you've got it all figured out.
No. I'm going to watch. If the game was in Tampa, then I might go. But no, not in Buffalo.
Well, you do. You gear up because it is a painful moment. You don't really know how the coach is going to respond in that moment, and different coaches are different, right? So you kind of go through your mind about, what do I know about this coach? What do I expect the reaction to be to my questions? And it's body language, it's tone of voice, it's the words you choose. There's a lot that goes into it, but you're right. It is a completely different interview and far less fun.
What is the difference, or do you notice a difference in Lamar Jackson and or Josh Allen at this point this year as opposed to last year?
Well, I think just on the football field, Lamar is just a better passer than he has been, and also he's a better decision maker than he has been. And I would say some of the same things for Josh. That the accuracy was the question. He seems to have gotten that on track. And just his ability to make the right decisions. But he's got another piece to the puzzle, which is Stephon Diggs, that makes decision-making a whole lot easier for him. So, it's been interesting, this draft class of these guys. In their third seasons, a lot of these guys seem to be turning the corner, and we're looking at, the next generation of these quarterbacks who are going to be going up against each other in playoff games and Super Bowls and regular season rivalries, and it's really been kind of fun.
Is it important, or how important is it for you to be involved in the game plan for both of these? Like when Al and Chris are there with coaches, and is it important for you to be listening to what these teams are trying to do, hoping to do, expected to do?
No question, because when you go to halftime and you want to talk to these coaches, you need to know what they were trying to achieve in that first half, at any point in the game, what their mindset was, what they were trying to do, who they were trying to get involved, who they were trying to stop, what they were trying to do. So because you want those questions at halftime to give you something. Now, it's hard to get something, really meaty, because these coaches at halftime, they're like, just ask me the question and let me go. And I get it. It's not the place they want to be. But I find that if you ask more detailed questions, you're going to get a better answer. And so, that's absolutely important. I watch Chris's tapes. He prepares tapes on every offense and every defense each week, both offenses, both defenses. And I watch those because they give you a great sort of education as to what these teams are good at, what they're not as good at, and what you should be looking for.
And contractually, do the coaches have to stop for 2 questions?
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know what the contractual thing is. And with Andy Reid, we have a different arrangement. He only likes to do those interviews walking off the field at halftime if he's ahead or tied. And we accept that.
Well, they all would like that, Michele.
But he's the one that's made that clear, and we've always honored it. And, so maybe I shouldn't have said it because now this is going to get, distributed to all the coaches in the NFL, and they're going to say, yeah, only if I'm rooting aside.
How about this, Michele? You have to have a Super Bowl win to be able to ask for this. How's that?
Oh, yeah, let's start putting all kinds of restrictions on this thing. That's great. No, I think there probably is something contractual because they do it for every network. They do it for usually they do it for their home radio people too. So there are moments you're not going to hit a home run every halftime, but there are moments when you get one and you go, oh gosh, this is great. I always refer back to Bill Parcells telling me he was going to start Tony Romo in the second half, and that was a big news story. So I was grateful for that one.
Have fun, and I'm rooting for snow. I don't know if you are, but I.
Fred Gaudelli is.
Oh, yes.
He is because there's this sense that if people see snow, they will stop put their remote down and watch. So
yeah, but Michele,
we're gonna watch this anyway.
Fred Gaudelli, is one of the great producers in this business. He's in a truck.
Yes, I know that.
So he's not. I mean, he's rooting for snow, but he doesn't care about those in the elements. He just wants it. These are pretty pictures.
You know what I hear in my ear every time? It's always 70 and perfect inside the truck, and how the things I want to say.
Yeah.
It's not pretty.
Thank you, Michele. Have fun. We'll be watching. We appreciate it, as always.
Thanks, Dan. Talk to you later.
That's Michele Tafoya, NBC Sunday night football sideline reporter, but she'll be there on Saturday night.